Strong relationships start with a simple question. I love my phone. I have a personal relationship with it. It's my best friend. But this isn't a talk about my relationship with technology or the latest technology. This is a talk about our relationship with each other. I found that something as simple as a check-in question can allow us to rebuild this muscle and reestablish the relationships that we once lost. But before I begin, I wanted to share with you a story. I've lived in San Francisco for over 45 years. Companies like Google and Facebook drive people from bus stops to their campuses every day. As I drive past these bus stops, I've noticed that a lot of people are in this position, and this is the ubiquitous position of somebody not wanting to pay attention, not socializing with the people around them, but surfing the internet or their social media pages. It turns out that wired earbuds are in fashion again because people find that the wired earbuds are more distinctive in showing that somebody is busy or occupied. And the wireless earbuds are actually too discreet. And during the pandemic, many of us sat in back-to-back Zoom meetings. Often, we couldn't have the conversations that we normally have on the side. In fact, we were on mute most of the time. So a few years ago, I moved to Las Vegas. And in fact, I live right on the Strip. When I tell people that I live on the Strip, half the room looks at me in horror, thinking that I gamble and drink and go to pool parties every day, and the other half is trying to invite themselves to my next Super Bowl party. So every weekend, about 200,000 people come to Las Vegas. If you've been to Las Vegas, you know how it feels. You're very excited to be there. And it turns out that I've met more people in 1 year living in Las Vegas than in 20 years living in San Francisco. And I started to wonder why that's the case. And it turns out that I often ask people more questions. Think about when you meet somebody for the first time. The number of questions that you ask when you meet somebody. I know more about The Rock on my social media feed, and so do his 300 million followers. I know what he ate for breakfast. I know how much weight he lifted. I actually follow this YouTuber named Potato Jet, and I know more about Potato Jet than my cousins. I know that he has a girlfriend named Carrie, he has a three-legged dog named Lefty, he drives a red Jeep. It turns out that I don't even know that about the people that I work with every day. I don't even know some of the names of my nieces and nephews, let alone their pets. And so when I started to write my book and to do the research around my book, I came across a solution for this. And the solution is as simple as asking a question, and I call that the check-in question. And you can start any meeting with a check-in question. And a check-in question might be as simple as, what's your favorite book? What color describes your mood today? Or where's a place that you've always wanted to go? Think about the impact of this if you ask these questions every day. Think about the number of meetings you have every week, every year with the same people. Well, I've taken a look at my meeting and my calendar, and what I found is that over the course of a week, I might have 3 meetings with the same people. And over the course of a year, across 52 weeks, I might meet with those people over 40 weeks. That's about 120 meetings that I might have with these folks. That could be about 120 pieces of information if you ask a check-in question each time. So let's just see what the impact of 6 questions might look like. Who was your favorite teacher and why? Mine was Miss Meek. In the 3rd grade, she gave me a Transformer toy when I ran into her in the street. What's something that changed your life as a child? My father died when I was 9, and it took me a long time to get over that, and it wasn't until college. What activities were you known for in high school? Well, I wasn't as tall and slim at that time. I was much shorter, and I was terrible at sports, but I played the violin. What would it be like to go back to your high school reunion? Well, I went to 2 Catholic high schools, and actually one of them burned down during the Sonoma County fires a few years ago. Why did you go to the college you went to? Well, I went to Cornell, and I went to study architecture there, and I went there because I wanted to go to Ivy League school as well. What was your first car? My first car was a Jeep Wagoneer, and it blew up when I was driving from San Francisco to Ithaca. So these questions kind of sound like the questions that you might be asked if you forget your password. When you put these simple questions together into a paragraph form, it comes out something like this, and maybe that's why companies know so much about us. So I'm going to read you those questions in narrative form. When I was in 3rd grade, Miss Meek meant a lot to me. I felt like she saw me. One time I saw her on the street and she gave me a Transformer action toy. She made it seem like she bought it just for me. My dad died when I was in 4th grade, and I didn't feel it until I was in college. I went to 2 different Catholic high schools, and one of them burnt down during the Sonoma County fires. I was terrible at sports, and I played the violin. I ended up going to Cornell because I wanted a degree in architecture, and it was one of the best colleges in the program that offered that program. I also wanted to go to an Ivy League school because my mom said that would guarantee success. I got my first car going to college, and it was a Jeep Wagoneer, and the engine blew up as I was driving it from San Francisco to Ithaca. So you could see that you just learned about 18 years of my life. And what I want to do is start you with this habit as well. So with your neighbor, we're going to ask this question. What was the history of your name? And I'm going to model it for you. So the history of my name is Anthony, and I got the name Anthony in 6th grade when I converted to Catholicism because I wanted to go to a Catholic school. I ended up choosing my own name. So we'll take 20 seconds, and you could ask your neighbor the same question, what is the origin of your name? And then we'll switch off. All right, so in a world where the very phones that we use every day have to tell us that we're using it too much. In a world where companies that are building the phones are building locks so that we don't use them all the time. In a world where Mr. Beast, a YouTuber, has 91 million followers and 25 million views of him literally counting from 1 to 100,000. 1, 2, 3. A simple check-in question can reestablish the relationships in our communities. And what I want to ask you to do is just simply ask questions to the people around you every day, the people that are closest to you, because these questions can unlock the great stories, the incredible accomplishments of the people that we see and work with every single day. And when we are seen, just like Miss Meek saw me, it can create memories that can last for over 40 years. Thank you.